Hello students, today I'm going to take up the second paragraph of the poem. I just took the first part and a little introduction about it yesterday, and today I'm going to talk about the second paragraph. Here also the theme remains the same. He talks about a social inequality or social injustice, and Stephen Spender is totally against this class division in the world. The difference between the haves and the have-nots, the difference between the underprivileged and the privileged one. So then he is talking about those children in the slum and how their lives are so different than the one where the civilized society have all the perks and perquisites. So on saw cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head. Cloudless at dawn, civilized doom, riding all cities. Belled, flowery Tyrolese valley. Open-handed map, awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their future painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far from rivers, caves, and star of worlds. You can also see the meanings which are given over there. And I would like to come to the first line once again. On sour cream walls. As I've told you, the entire ambience looks very worn out and dilapidated. The walls were off-white in color. It was not even painted. So then the painting and the infrastructure of the school totally were dependent on the donations given to them. The school heavily looked on charity and charitable organizations for its growth and development. And on top of it, adding to the irony of the situation, the school had Shakespeare's picture. Okay. On one hand, where they're not able to impart the basic elementary education to people, on the other hand, we are talking about a literary genius, one who excels and one who is known to be the pioneer in the in the world of language. So his picture was so ironic, where children were not even being able to give the children were not given basic elementary education. On the other hand, I'm talking about the literary genius of William Shakespeare. I mean, William Shakespeare is the epitome of language. How can I talk about him in a village school where people don't even know the ABCD of it? Cloudless at dawn, civilized doom, riding all cities. Now here the poet talks about all those doom-shaped structures which are, which marks the city. The city always has all skyscraping buildings and towers, and these children cannot see the cloudless sky. That is, in the morning when they get up, they can't see the sky. Why? Because it is all messed up and covered up. They cannot see all these bounties of nature because their lives struggle in getting them bread and butter, and the entire city is covered by these civilized dome shaped structure which covers the slums also. And unfortunately, these slums cannot see the other side of it. Why? Because their entire world revolves around slogging for the whole day and getting bread and butter for themselves and their family. So they keep doing that, whereas they are also deprived of looking at the sky, gazing at the sky, or maybe looking at the buildings and infrastructure. Why? Because people who sleep with a hungry stomach, people who don't even get proper meals a day, for them all these things are baseless. For them all these things are meaningless. I can't get proper meals a day. How can I think of these things? So hence they don't get up in the morning to see a cloudless sky, or they are not even bothered to see the skyscrapers or big buildings and infrastructure which rules the city. And on top of it, there is also another picture in the classroom which has this Tyrolese valley, a picture of a beautiful ice-free valley in Austria. Okay. So there's also a picture of a flowery valley which is covered with flowers, and it looks like picturesque scene and scenario and everything, and the picture is beautiful. But imagine their world that stands exact opposite to what they see in that picture. Open-handed map, awarding the world its world. There's a map also in the classroom which has been donated by somebody, and that map shows them the states, the countries, but that map gives them a fake picture because they would never be able to come out of the slum and maybe go through or travel along the cities of the world. They can never come out of that dingy, crammed hole. So the poet here urges the educators, the educationalists, the lawmakers, the politicians, the bureaucrats, that we all need to come together to award the world its world. One world is for these children. These children should be awarded the real world, or else they would die in that crammed hole. They should be given the benefits of being a part of this beautiful, picturesque world with all the bounties, with all the mountains, plateau, plains, rivers. They should be able to see all these things. But to our surprise, these children will live and die in that filth. As I've already said, awarding the world its world means the poet urges the people to give these children the perks and perquisites of the real world. They should be given the benefits of all the beautiful things that God has made for all of us. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this world, their world. And unfortunately, for all these little children, they could see the slum, the dark, dingy world that they belong to through the window. They cannot see the beautiful window. They cannot see the beautiful world outside. The world which has all the nature's cue and picture's cue, scene and scenario. They could only see the filth, dirt which prevails around their slum. Because whenever they peep out of the window, that's the world they see. The monosyllabic, the monotonous life that prevails around or that sustains. So that's what they see. And nothing else, where all their future is painted with a fog. So their future is bleak, their future is dark. Why? This fog here, obviously fog makes things not visible to people, fog makes things hazy. So their future is also like fog, which is very unclear. It is hazy. They don't even know what they're going to do. They don't even know what certainty do they have. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Like for us, it's a blue sky. Why? Because we can see it clearly. We have the freedom, we have the liberty. But for these children, why the streets are narrow? Because it is of the slum. It is just like a crammed hole. They don't have any, they don't have any freedom to go out and excel. They don't have the credibility or the talent or maybe the perks and perquisites that should be given to a child to excel in his life. So they don't have all these things. It is narrow, it is compact, and their sky is made up of lead. Why lead? Because it is of dull color. It shows the lead color, which is dull, and far from rivers, caves, stars or bird. That means these people are far away from the river, plateau, plain, and the power of words, the jigsaw puzzle of words that we keep doing, the jugglery of words. Far away from these things, but their life is bleak, dingy, and they will live here and they will die in that hole. So children, a quick recap of what I did just now. The second paragraph I would like to tell you, because as you know, it is a little difficult and tricky to understand. So hence I was trying to tell you again. On saw cream walls. Why saw? Because the walls have become off-white and they have become, worn out, and the walls or the infrastructure of the school is totally dependent on donations. If the rich people give donations, then it will be corrected and rectified, or else it will remain in that dilapidated state. Donations it was thoroughly dependent on. Now in that classroom where the quality of knowledge rendered was pathetic, it was in that state, whereas there was a picture also of William Shakespeare, who is known to be the epitome of English language, who is known to be the pioneer of literature. So then his picture was there, which was very ironic. Why? Because basic elementary education was not given to the children, and on the other hand we are talking about William Shakespeare, who is known to be one of the pioneers of the language. That was also donated by somebody. Cloudless at dawn, civilized doom, riding all cities. Now the cities, obviously, the slum is a part of a city. Now those cities have big dome shaped structures. Those cities have big skyscraping buildings. but their world is associated and entangled in that slum. They don't get to see the sky, which has, you know, which is of blue color, or which is which doesn't have a cloud above, which doesn't have clouds above. They are not able to see anything. They don't know the nature, the beauty, or anything associated with it, because their lives revolve around only fetching food, cloth and shelter for themselves. The whole life they are busy fetching these basic amenities of life. Then we talk about the Bellflowery Tyrolese Valley. Tyrolese Valley is an Austrian valley. It's beautiful. Why? Because there's also a picture of flowers, valley, and they look vibrant, colorful, full of, you know, different colors, and it is a beautiful picture which is also there in the classroom. But according to the poet, this is also contrary to this situation. Why? Because the children would never be able to see anything beyond that cramped hole. Those slum children were born to entitle the dirt and filth of the slum, and they have nothing to do with that Tyrolese valley. So hence that picture was also not according to the circumstance. Open-handed map. There was also a map hanging in the classroom which showed them the political boundaries, which showed them this is the state, the country, XYZ. But for these children, that map was also giving them false hope and aspirations. That map was also not able to give them knowledge, impart knowledge or whatever. They just gave them false hope, because they could not go beyond it. They could not cross the boundary of this filth, and their life will revolve around that cramped hole. Awarding the world its world. Here the poet wants to urge the educationalists, the bureaucrats, to give the world. One world has been referred to the children, and the other world has been referred to the actual world that we all live in. So the poet is urging the people that we all need to award these children the real world, full of perks and perquisites that we all enjoy. And yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world. We have shown them a map which shows them the state, the political boundary, the nature, the value, the valley, the river, mountain, plateau, everything is there. But for them, when they look out of the window, they could only see filth, dirt and which is, you know, squalor. Filth, dirt and squalor, that's what they can see. They cannot see those beautiful river, picturesque valley, plateau, plain, nothing except the dirt, filth that prevails all over. So that window can only give them the glimpse of the street that they live in, and they can never go beyond it. Okay, so children, these windows, not this map, their world. So obviously the window that they see through is the world that they live in, and that map was only giving them a false hope and aspiration. It was not apt according to the circumstance, where all their futures painted with a fog. They don't have any other opportunity. They don't have a hope. They don't have anybody who would guide them, support them, or maybe push them so that they can get a proper guidance and excel in their field. What do they have? They just have to live in that slum, and they have to die in that only. So where all their future is completely dark, dingy, and it is hazy, just like fog can only create haziness. Fog can only look unclear. Similarly, their future was also unclear, dark, and it was completely hazy. The future was not clear. They were aimless, they were directionless, they didn't know what to do, and they only had to slog and die in that whole filth. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. So then their world, we all, people who have all the benefits, people who can avail all the benefits, when they stand under the blue sky, they can see the sky above, because they know they have miles to go before their sleep. They know that they have a lot of things that they can explore and do. But these children, when they stand there, they could only see that polluted sky above. There's no guidance, there's no hope, there is no aspiration, and they cannot go beyond it. There's nobody who can help them to come out of it, and their future is also hazy, dark, and they will live and die in that slum, as I mentioned before. Far, far from rivers, caves, and star of words. Again, the poet has repeated far, far twice. It's repetition. They are far away from all these pictures, valley, mountain, plateau, plain, river. They don't know how to enjoy the nature's beauty. They have not seen it. They have never explored it, and they are also far away from the the play of words, the jugglery of words. How do you get to know the jugglery of words? When you know the language, when you know literature, when you know how to play with words here and there, how to use synonyms and antonyms of several words. How will they know it? They don't know. They have not been imparted the basic language also. They have not been imparted the little necessities of the language that we need to know to speak well or to write well. So they are far away from it. Their whole life goes in that particular hole, that particular crammed hole where they are just living for the heck of living. Students, I would like to show you the summary of the second paragraph, wherein I have tried to put in a lot of words so that it will help you to understand it in a better way. The classroom is not well maintained. The pale color of the walls, which are painted long ago with the help of donations, make the place look more miserable and sad. Probably there is a portrait of Shakespeare on the wall, and this is ironic as it is put up in a place where there is no serious teaching. Cloudless dawn and civilized doom suggest the monotonous life in the slum. These slums are surrounded by civilized city, and the children cannot experience the beauty of the sky at dawn and are unaware of it. All around them are concrete structures of the cities. The life in the slum contrasts with the lifeless sky at dawn and concrete structures which override the cities. There is also a picture of a beautiful valley full of sweet, vibrant flowers, and these children of the slum will never be able to experience this beauty. They are deprived of this beauty as they are condemned to live in the slum amidst garbage. The open-handed map in the classroom contrasts with their world. The world given to us by God is full of all the bounties, whereas the world of these slum children is full of poverty and hunger. The world which they see is not the real world. Their world is confined to the narrow, dusty streets of the slum. The map in the classroom gives them false hopes and aspirations and motivates them to explore the world, but they will never be able to see that world. These children can get the glimpse of the outside world from the windows, and it is far beyond their reach. They are far away from nature. These slum children have a bleak and foggy future in store for them, and their future is painted with fog. It is blurred and it is full of hopelessness. Now looking at the literary devices, first one is metaphor. Walls are described to be dull as saw cream, as I've told you. Saw cream walls, they have straight away told you they're not like cream, but they are saw cream. That is straight comparison. Future of the kids is described as limited, that is narrow street seal with lead sky. That's assonance. We need to know here. That's assonance. And before this, future of the kid is described as limited, that is with lead sky. It is a metaphor. Whereas I need to tell you something new. The assonance means whenever there's a repetition of the vowel. What is the repetition here? If you see belt, E is repeated, flowery E is repeated, Tyrolese again E is repeated, valley E is repeated. So whenever you have a vowel sound repeated, it is known as assonance. Now what is allusion? Reference to a well-known person. Whenever you have Shakespeare, Tyrolese Valley, all these beautiful place or person, whenever you have a reference of it, that's allusion. One more is there. Far again. Far has been repeated again, which shows that it is repetition. Why? Because it is stress on the word far.